Hello everybody, I think we got it going today. We just got home last night from Dallas and we'd gone to the gathering of friends, and hopefully everything's okay. I've got so many things that I had to reset up today, and I think I got it together. I had thought I painted a mini, primed it, and I did not. I'd only done Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, and so I painted her the last time, and that was it. So today I am going to try to do a different technique here with Iron Man, but I had hand painted it today, so I did not airbrush it. It looks like it needs another coat. It's been drying for about a little over an hour. Hopefully it'll be good. Let me get here to Twitch on this other phone so I can see what the chat is, if there is any chat. I hope there is. We had a great trip. Nikki and I both were gone 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, but seems like it shows it as being live. Cool. Okay. But we were gone 2 weeks, and we went to the gathering, which was really fun. Was a good year because, you know, the previous years lately, very few European folks came, which is always fun to have and see those folks, because, you know, Freedom and Freeze is one of our good friends in the hobby, and he had not come since 2019. And this is the third one we've been. So we went in 2021, it was delayed, and we went in the summertime, which was different for us because it was Niagara Falls in the summer, which we had never done. And then last year we went in the normal time in April, but still quite a few folks. I mean, Urin Duman from Splotter was there, which was exciting. And some French publishers and Belgian publishers were here, but were there, but not many German publishers. I don't, you know, there were still some travel restrictions and things like that potentially going on, so it's not like they had much of a choice, maybe. But we had a good time. We hung out with Matthew, our BGG's community manager, played some great stuff with him. We did play the new. I think Nikki and I did an unboxing. I know we did an unboxing for Carnival Zombie, the new version of that, which has a bunch of minis. And after playing it again for the first time in 6 years or something like that, we were super eager to paint them now. I am especially, and Nikki really loved them too. They look great. I'm not in any rush to get to it yet, but I want to do them. I really, really want to try to get done with all these Marvel United ones. Let's see here. Hopefully I can do this. So today I'm going to do something very different than I've normally done with any of these Zenithal highlight type things. Is this one I'm going to try to do in multiple styles of undercoating, still doing the same type of thing, but not styles, but types of paint. So instead of using, I'm sorry, I'm cleaning my brush too. I did not do a good job cleaning it before I walked away from the desk, and so it's a little dry. So I use, let me cut to the lower cam here. There we go. I use this brush cleaner, the Masters. I mean, this is so old. This lasts so long. This doesn't even have a barcode on it. The new bottle I have of it does have a barcode, but it is not even new because Scott has one, and it is a different shaped bottle. So I don't know when they changed that. I don't remember when I bought this bottle, but I thought for sure at one point I must have thought, I'm going to be running out of this soon. But it lasts a long time. I mean, I still don't have much soap left in there, but it'll do a lot more brush cleaning. Does a very good job of cleaning it out. Hey Joe King, so what I'm gonna try to do on this one, instead of just doing white, I'm gonna try to do like a metallic, multi-coated, like maybe different colors of silver undercoating to then put on the contrast paints. see what I get from that. I've always been intrigued by that. I'll be using standard white for the thruster splash here and on his underneath his feet. You can see I didn't do that great of a job of painting. It's hard to do any kind of black undercoating. Even with an airbrush, I tend to miss stuff. So I will touch this up, and we'll have to let it dry a little bit, which is unfortunate. I really wish I had remembered that I did not paint that. I mean, we didn't get home till well after 10 last night, so I'm kind of amazed I actually made it this morning. But I'm kind of still on Dallas/East Coast time, so my brain is just all over the place, because now it's, you know, in the afternoon in Niagara, and even in Dallas it's 10:35. But yeah, we're kind of happy to be home. I had a really good time. My hands got beat up from helping Scott with his pinball machines. We did a bit of an upgrade to his one of his newer machines, like doing additional add-ons, and man, it was great. I was so bummed I couldn't play it more. We were hoping to go do more before we left yesterday, but we just had so many things to do before we left. And we did go to Common Ground Games in Dallas, which is not too far from where he lives, and found like about $1,000 worth of games for the BGG library. So if you're coming to BGG Spring, I'm sure there's tickets still available for that if you're interested, especially if you're in the Dallas area. There's going to be a bunch more new games. They have, you know, that store is really great about backing games from Kickstarter and getting them in their store right away. So they get them in to their store before even you know, the standard retail ones get there. They have like it's just great. They have so much stuff. We were happy to find a game called Dwarf Romantic. It's available. We saw a copy. We could not play it because it is a campaign game. And one of the attendees of the gathering he's really quite the collector, and he brings a ton of games to the con every year. So it's, you know, because it's basically some publishers bring stuff. We played a new game. Well, I'll tell you about that in a minute. But he had Dwarf Romantic, and I got to look at it. I mean, I'd never seen it in English. I only ever saw it in Germany. And I guess it's based on a video game, which I know nothing about. But it looked interesting. It's a tile laying, I guess like a campaign or legacy style tile laying game. And it looked cool. So we found that, because it's like still, I believe, on pre-order. I mean, that may not have been updated at like Miniature Market and places like that. And Amazon was selling it for $80 or something like that. So, you know, not Amazon, but some reseller or seller on Amazon was selling it for $80. And I'm like, that's not right. Actually, I think Miniature Market had it for really cheap. We paid like the regular retail price, which is totally fine. But you know, we want to get the games, and we don't like to ask for everything. But this is one that I'm excited about, because I honestly feel I talked to Dale Yu. He feels it's his top choice for Kennerspiel, or no, SDJ this year. Hey, Time Roller. Hey, Thunderflux. Yeah, I mean, it's so if it's one of the games that we think is going to get nominated, we definitely want to feature that. You know, I'm kind of at a loss for what I think will get nominated this year. Dwarf Romantic was one that I saw in the press a lot, or some, and because I follow some of those folks on Twitter and stuff like that. And some of the other ones get quiet around the SDJs, so it's hard to tell exactly where that stuff is at. We will see all of that stuff at BGG Spring. Several members of the jury are coming this year. I do not remember who the second one is. Krzysztof Shavinsky's coming. He is the head of the children's jury. Hey, Nikki P, what's up? Hi. Nikki P's out here. Interrupting you. You're okay. Okay, what's going on?
Nothing. Just interrupting.
Nikki's interrupting me.
Is that okay?
Sure, sure.
Or is that bad?
No, it's fine. Yeah, so Krzysztof's the head of the children's jury, and he will be there. They'll be bringing all the newly nominated games, which are nominated just before the BGG Spring, which is Memorial Day weekend. And we'll get to try all that stuff out. I think I got super glue here. or something. It's not coming up. Oh no, maybe it is. It's, who knows what it is. Some sort of paint slash glue slash I don't know what. So we'll get to try all the newly nominated games. We'll know exactly then what I'm certain we won't know any of the children's games.
Nope,
we almost never do. But we feel like Challengers is something that might get nominated. It won the As d'Or, which is the French Game of the Year award at. It was awarded at FIJ this year, Festival International des Jeux. They always announce it there. Would you do me a favor and get me something to drink too, Nikki P?
What would you like?
Anything out of there will be fine.
Caffeinated or non?
Non-caffeinated.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you, Nikki P. So the nominations will be at the weekend before Memorial Day. So they announce them like on Saturday or something like that. They do a live stream presentation, I believe, and then the jury will be bringing all those games. They have to scrape them all together and bring them to, and you know, if some of them are in German only. One of the games I don't know if it will get nominated, but it's an Alea game called Council of Shadows.
I'll do it like wine.
Okay. Oh, thank you. That'll be good. Thanks. Okay. Council of Shadows is a new Alea game, which I asked Ravensburger about here in the U.S., and they didn't know what I was talking about. Doesn't mean anything. Like, it was a little early, but I was like, is that coming in English? So we found that yesterday at Common Ground. They had 2 copies. We did not take it with us yet because number one was heavy. We'd already packed. You know, it was close to us leaving when we went over there. We'd already packed, so we didn't actually get to it, you know, to even really look at it. But we did take Dorfman because I honestly, I mean, Brian Yu, his brother, Dale Yu, is, you know, he's a journalist about board games. He writes on Opinionated, it's his website, Opinionated Gamers. They write a lot of great stuff about games, and he played that. I think they got the German edition at Spiel this last year. Brian and Dale were both there, and he really liked it. He feels it's the #1 choice for SDJ. I am intrigued. I was intrigued by it then, hearing that it was a campaign game and tiling, which of course Nikki would love to play.
Of course.
And she's gonna have to look.
Give me the tiles.
I know. And then what was the other one? I mean, the problem is we really don't know. I mean, what we think might get nominated, we really don't know. It's the group is very different than it used to be. So lots of new members, and I guess they've got some more coming soon, which is cool. You know, I mean, definitely kind of. I think it'd be good to keep it young. That was part of our issue with the, you know, with the gaming in general. You want to always keep new people coming in, and you know, like lately we've added our friend Gabby to the show, and she's serious gamer and fantastic and fun. Although she's funny, she's not always great on camera. I mean, as far as being loose, you know what I mean?
I think when she thinks about the fact that she's being filmed, she stiffens up a little bit.
She's like, so she produces things. She's a podcast producer. And, you know, she's slick. I mean, it's great. It's great having her around because she definitely understands what we're doing and is really got great ideas and stuff. But she gets funny because it's like, you can speak up, you know, you don't have to be so quiet. And of course, when we test her, she's loud and everything. Then we get on camera, she's just a little shyer. But anyway, but it would be good to keep the hobby young, and it's good to have new jurors. I don't know the average age of the jury. I know that I met quite a few people on the jury recently. Last year at BGG Spring, we had Nico from the jury, Christoph, and Steph. Was it Steph or was it somebody else?
No, it's Steph.
Because Steph came to Gen Con as well.
Yeah.
And Christoph and Steph were both on our Planted video for GameNight, the Phil Walker Harding game. We got to see him too as well. I forgot to tell him about, I was talking to him about his games, and I forgot to tell him about Monolith, which, you know, I liked that one, and it was interesting. So, but yeah, it was good to see David, and you know, it's a long. I'm not David, Phil. David's his brother.
Phil and David.
They Phil and Dawn. So yeah, that's a big travel from Australia. I mean, Europe's not, well, it's closer on the East Coast than it is here anyway.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's a lot of travel. It's not even fun for us necessarily. It's good that we go to Dallas for a little bit beforehand. Thanks, Dance and Desi. We love Gabby. She's awesome. Deborah actually introduced us to her.
Yeah.
And she is really great, and she's really into the hobby. She's a heavier gamer. It's funny how many new folks are heavy gamers. So we were in Dallas. I might have mentioned this, but when did that happen? When did we meet him? I guess it was when we were there the last time, Patricio. So we were in Dallas, and we went to this taqueria.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if we mentioned this on the stream, but...
No, because it happened this visit.
No, it happened the previous one when we were there for...
Did it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Because I think I told him we were leaving and then coming back. But anyway, regardless, we go to this taqueria, and it's one of the ones that Scott loves to go to. And the manager comes up to us, and he's like, "Hey, is everything great?" And we're like, "Oh, it's wonderful." And it is a really good taqueria.
And you order in Spanish, and
yeah, it's very
Spanish.
Mexican,
Yeah.
which is awesome, and the food is wonderful. And he's like, "Are you guys on YouTube? do you the game?" And we're like, "Oh my gosh!"
That freaked.
We were all
what?
shocked. And
I
he's a
even
really
said what out loud. Like,
exactly.
What?
He and his wife, who does not speak a lot of English, so he uses BGG to do paste ups. I might have said something about this. He uses BGG to do paste ups like we used to do when we get the German games and didn't have English versions. We would do all of that paste up. I have so many intricately pasted up games from back then.
Still a cool story.
And it was great. And so we saw him again yesterday before we went, because we love the tacos there. I try not to be bad and eat too many of them. What did I do with the white paint? Oh, there it is.
I only ordered 2, but
Yeah,
I
me
would
too.
like to have
I know.
5.
Yeah, they're great. They're not too gigantic, but boy, yesterday they were beaucoup, but it was good. Anyway, so yeah, he's going to come to the convention. I mean, he's obviously in Dallas, and his wife. So it's going to be a little challenging. I don't speak Spanish, so foolishly, because I live in Southern California, I should have learned to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. It was really awesome.
I could have been taught Spanish at home, and I
Yeah, you chose not to do that.
chose to be a kid.
Yeah, I don't want to know that stuff, Mom. Anyway, so yeah, we had a good time. It was great meeting him, and so they'll be there. And this one's at the airport, so it's at the DFW airport, the Hyatt Regency there, which is a great spot if you can come in, if you're flying in. But we are looking forward to it. There's a lot of good chemistry. Thanks, Joe. We actually, we try to make sure that we have a good group of folks, because it is an issue. You definitely want it to be as mellow as you can, and have people that are excited. Candace is great. She's one of our. We haven't had her on the actual game night since last year when we did top 10, but we need to have her on. She's working for us now, BGG. She's full time, and that's part of the problem. She's so busy that she can't come over. Not that she can't, but mostly when she comes over, we work. Okay, cutie, go have fun. What are you doing? You got your mask on. You going someplace?
Yeah, I have my doctor's appointment.
Oh, what time's that? Noon?
11:30.
Okay. But that seems like, I guess that's soonish. Yeah, you got to go pretty soon.
It's all the way over at the other one,
Oh, okay.
Here, it's
Oh, you better go now. Holy cow. Okay, cutie. See you later.
goodbye.
And there goes Nikki P. But yeah, we try to have a good group. It's funny though, people are so much more busy lately, and we don't get to. So I'm going to dry brush this. I'm going to start with the white at the base here. I'm using this smaller brush here, a makeup brush. This is a eye contour. Let's see, eye contour brush. Ian says hi, Nikki. But yeah, it's actually I actually try to adapt the group for the game too, which seems probably silly to some, but it kind of is essential, because you know, Dave is not really into the deeper games. I mean, sometimes I will kind of force him to do one of those games because I know he'll probably appreciate it. I mean, not that Wonderland's War is that deep. It's only like a medium level game in my opinion. I think, as a matter of fact, that's the other thing. BGG has the, I'll tell you about that in a second. We have the Golden Geeks. But yeah, I try to get the group right for the game. You know, we want the game to be, we want our reactions to be upbeat. You know, we're focusing on games we like, so it's going to be a little bit more, if you make sure that the right people are there for it. Because, you know, Aaron doesn't like all the games that we like necessarily. He's very flexible, but he still sometimes doesn't really like them. You know, it's like too light for him. And so we kind of reserve those games for the deeper games for Aaron. And we want Gabby and Candace to be involved with some more of those. I mean, Candace is seriously deep gamer. She's probably more flexible. Oh, I'm putting white on there. Well, I'll leave that for now. Getting carried away. But yeah, she's probably a little bit more flexible. I mean, Gabby is you know, her group is very heavy gamers, and so, you know, but she's appreciated all the lighter games that we played, very much so. She was sad that she couldn't get one of the ones we did. What was the one that we did that she could not buy yet? We do a little bit too much of the before the games are available stuff, you know, in the U.S. sometimes, which is tough. We did Mists of Carcassonne well before it was available in the United States. It was available in English if you ordered it from Germany or maybe Philibert. I can't remember where Scott ordered them from, but it wasn't available here very quickly, which is weird because it said Z-Man on the box. So I don't know. Maybe just getting them to the United States is slow. I don't know where they actually manufacture those. They used to do them in Germany. Boy, this focus is not great. Maybe I got something wrong going on here. Let me get these out. No, they're not even in the shot. Anyway, so the Golden Geeks are I think you can vote now. I spent a bunch of time nominating, you know, putting in the stuff, the podcasts and the games that I was excited to about this year. Hopefully, you can have an opportunity to go vote for that. It's great. They're decided by the audience, so you should get out there and go for it if you and do it if you're interested in doing that this year. I had Scott go a little bit longer. I felt last year the nominees were the nomination cycle was too short. So this time it went for 2 weeks. So you can't nominate anymore now. We were gone the whole time that was happening. But you can vote. I know that Scott was actually trying to look at the nominees because some things were like nominated in categories that weren't quite right. You know, I mean, I think there's much more going on in some of the titles. For example, when we played on the show, Rear Window isn't really a cooperative game. It has cooperative elements, but it is one versus the others sometimes. So it can't really be a cooperative game. I guess that just means it's probably a light game. I imagine the category it ended up getting in. Wow, this is tough. So see here, it's dark at his foot, underneath his foot here. So I think I need to use a different brush to get in there. See all the dust that's coming off? Now some of this is me actually dry brushing the paint handle. This is going to look like water. This is going to look like the Jurassic World mini that I did that was from Jurassic Park 3. Because of it's more sketchy when you dry brush this, and you know it's not water. But I mean I guess essentially it kind of looks like it could be water, right? It's a splash, energy splash. But I want to try to get enough white in there so that the blue will show up. It won't be black. So I'm going to work harder on this one for a bit. This week's game night episode, goodness, I do not know. I actually have to do the work for it. I prepped everything before we left. So the 2 episodes we had out while we were gone, I prepped, which was Acropolis and Dice Manor, which I really liked, by the way. I think that game's really cool. We were hoping to play it at the Gathering, but we did not get it in. I was saying we played one game called from Captain Games, which is Cedric Coleman, his new company. Cedric is the one of the co-founder of Repos, and they did a game last year that we still want to do on the show called 13 Words. It's not quite as cool a game as the new one called Sides. Sides is kind of like, we're going to do it on the show for sure. We got a copy of it, an advanced copy of it, but it's kind of like Password, where you're giving clues to, it's cooperative, and you're giving clues to a team that rotates around the table. So the team varies, each round, and you go till you can have more than one turn. Well, you will have more than one turn because you'll be part of 2 teams, but you might even have more than that because you keep going till you run out of till you run out of cards that have the clues on them. So the goal is to get them right so that, it's sort of like Just One, in that your score is based on how many cards you were able to get in the rounds, and I think it's maximum 15. Doesn't seem right though, but I guess it is probably 15. So you could keep giving it, like if you can get the answer in one clue, then that's great. That means you can go on to the next one and hopefully have a bunch for the just keep going. So what you do is you have this row of 7 letters. Some of them are multiple letters, and you have to give a clue from one of the letters on each side. You can choose to do one inside the 7 cards, from either edge. You can go into that. The problem is you have to throw away the cards that you skipped over, which is bad because you have, I think it's 26 of those. I don't remember. But you have those cards and you do not want to get rid of them. Is that right? I'm trying to remember now. It seems kind of, it's weird. Scott played it a bunch. We played it probably 5 times. But it's a great game. It's really fun. And you give the clue. So for example, we had one that was piggy bank. Oh my gosh. So piggy bank was an easy answer, which I got to tell you, it was not. We knew it wasn't an easy answer when we got it. Now, remember, these guys are Belgian. Their English is, they're great. Both Francois and Cedric, who both designed, Francois Roman and Cedric Coleman designed this game. They both have great English. The problem is, I think some of these words don't necessarily translate to English. Maybe piggy bank is very still common in the United States. I don't feel that kids have piggy banks anymore, but who knows? I have a piggy bank because I think we have some old ones, but never, as kids, that was when I had mine. You give the clue. If the team, they'll take their guess, and then you give them a percentage that you think that they have the answer. And so we had piggy bank, and Scott and, gosh, I can't remember who his partner was, really struggled. It took a bunch of cards to get it, but they finally got it. And then we just struggled to give them clues for it. And you have the letter to choose from. It's like on either edge. Sometimes it's a great letter, sometimes it's not. Then you do another clue. And once one person gives a clue, you can't give another clue till that round is over. So you kind of can't even chime in, although I think we did. But it's really cool. Anyway, so this week's episode could be. I can't remember what we did. We got a couple things. I think the end of the season is going to be Catan, Starfarers. Because we're going to try to switch to 4K. And doing so is kind of a challenge, and so we're already filming episodes for next season that will be in 4K. And so it's a challenge, right? You got to get them all together, and they're going to be more to edit, and they're harder to photograph, film, you know, it's tough. So we're going to try to launch with that. But we shot, Clone Wars might be the one. Star Wars Clone Wars is the pandemic system game. We filmed it with Gabby. It was Dave and Gabby. That might be this week's episode if it's done. It was definitely not shot in 4K. Though we might have tried, I can't remember. We had one time where it wasn't working, and so we just shot in standard 1080p again. It's weird. The biggest challenge is from above. We have the camera from above is a lot more. You need it to be in 8K now for the new 4K ones. We've already been shooting 4K with that. That's how we do the punch-ins. But so yeah, Clone Wars is great. The other one that we really liked, which we have not done on the show, but we wanted to do, was the World of Warcraft one. I still would like to do that one, but you know, we kind of, it's weird. Getting folks over is a challenge. I mean, everybody's just busier now. And Dave has been taking care of his mom. His dad passed away a little while back, and so he's kind of making sure that everything's good with her. His mother's. You would never guess she's as old as she is. That's just, she's an unbelievable, active lady. And, but yeah, I hope he comes back down soon, because I would love to film some more stuff. Okay, so we're going to try to do silver. Let's see how this goes. This brush may not be dry enough yet. It's hilarious. I mean, how messy it is to dry brush. But I like the effects. Oh, I didn't actually show what we did. So last time, here's the original one I painted. I painted this on a stream with Scott. And then this one was the dry brush one. It's different. I thought about painting her skin to try to get it to be more like this one. Because I think otherwise it's fantastic. The hair looks great. It's a little bit more dynamic than the original airbrush one. Now, I've changed the way I do these things a little bit. I think on this one, I did not do the highlights. Let me show you one of the ones that I did the highlights on. So I did this one first, and it looks great, but I decided I wanted to paint little highlights underneath with white stripes before putting the red on top. And I think that gives it a little bit better and more interesting look. This might have been the first one I did. It's a little more subtle. Here we go. Here's Mystique. Mystique I did a little bit more, not as crazy. I still didn't want to make it too wild. And oh yeah, Jean Grey. And I like it. I think it looks good. It might have been a little. This is a little more comic booky, which sort of what I want to do on all this stuff. But I think it turned out great. I think now this one I airbrushed the black, which you don't have to do. As you can see, I'm doing the one here, and it's turning out pretty cool. It's a different look. I think either one of them will be fantastic. I'm not really sure, dry brushing the face. I'm not sure. I like it. It's not terrible, but I definitely prefer the face on this one. And this is fully airbrushing it. Now, I think that I might have come in and touched this up more prior to painting it, or even after. I mean, I can't recall exactly how it went. But, getting them painted is really the ultimate goal. And they look fun they really look fun. Did I do that with Storm? I guess I did. I went and did a little bit of highlighting on her hair prior to doing that. I'm not entirely satisfied with Storm. I think I should have painted her like I did Kingpin. So I spent more time on Kingpin's undercoating, and then I barely touched it up. I left it as it was and then went in and painted some darker stuff in the creases. And I'm very happy with the way that one turned out. I'm not a real fan of the white under the armor, excuse me. And you know, Mystique didn't quite turn out. Hers is a little bit better. Maybe I didn't fiddle with it too much, but I don't feel the highlights are great. But yeah, Storm is like, you know, because it's a cool looking mini, goodness gracious. But the armor's only okay. White is my white is tough. Yellow's the next most difficult one. It does look a little ill, Jeanette, but I don't mind it, right? This is on the table. You should see it, you know, it does not look as strong when you're a foot away from it. But I thought about it a lot today. I was like, and I still may, you know, this isn't done. I haven't painted her eyes or anything like that, but I still may do it. I may paint over, it's not varnished yet, so it's totally doable, but you know, it's tough. I really don't know. I mean, the whole goal is to try the different methods here. I'm going to try to just paint the base game box with this dry brush style and see how it goes. I think I mean, reality is it looks really good. If you didn't see this one, you wouldn't really be bothered by this other one. But yeah, the skin, she looks kind of like a zombie. That's really what it kind of looks like. There is the Marvel Zombicide. We did see that yesterday too. I would like to get that one. I did not back it. I don't want it all, but I would like some of it. I didn't back it because I just was like, I can't get any more miniatures. I have too many games with miniatures. And I've never even played Zombicide. So for me, it would be good to, where the heck is the silver paint? I do have a darker one here. Is this a gunmetal? Ring mail. That seems to be too bright. Is this it? Hooray! That's the same thing, chainmail. So there you go. The ring mail's from Nitro, which is no longer in existence. Nitro's paints were made by the same people that made GW's paints. Not necessarily the same exact formula, but they sure seem similar. I think P3 is actually the same manufacturer too. Let me see here where it's made. Is it made in France? Made in the UK, so then I think that that's the same people. Yeah, I wonder if I should dry brush gold underneath. This one is gold metallic. I don't know. I'm going to try this first. I actually almost did Ultron because he's all silver, but I really want to do, I mean, I love Iron Man's miniature. It looks great. So here we go. I feel the brush is dry enough. You have to, so I didn't show you cleaning it exactly, but you have to be careful, right? They're not designed like a paintbrush. You can't clean them the same way. So you have to, wow, how did I get this silver all over me already? I guess I opened it up and it just got everywhere. So yeah, I'm going to try to do a couple shades of silver where I will do this darker silver and then do a brighter silver with the, where's it at? I think it's the metallic medium, metallic medium from, goodness gracious, metallic medium from Vallejo. Where the heck is it? That's what you get when you walk away from your desk for 2 weeks. Let me see if I can find it here. So I know they have some new stuff coming from GW that's going to be, gosh, you would think it'd be up here with the Vallejo stuff. It is not. Oh, here it is. I have a bunch of, I have silver and metallics are like my, wow, that's a pretty good dark one. That might be better. No, that one's darker. So maybe I'll do it in 3 coats. So this is very, very white, but it's a metallic. So, but yeah, I guess GW has some Citadel metallic stuff coming with the contrast paints. I have no idea what. Thanks, Joe. They do look. I think they look great. Hopefully this is stirred up. It is. This is an older bottle, and it's still hanging in there. But yeah, they supposedly have some metallic stuff coming. I have no idea how that's going to work. It'd be intriguing if they had like a, I don't know. Seems to me like you'd have to have a pigment that settled. I don't know. We'll see. I've been pretty impressed with their paints so far, and not all of them are perfect, but most of them are pretty good. Let's see here. Yeah, I was supposed to have a meeting today, so I'm not under the pressure that I was before now. So let me get a brush, a spot to clean the dry brush with, or to wipe off the excess paint. So I saw a thing which I'd never seen before. Adam Smasher, Tabletop Minions, did a thing of what he picked up at Adepticon, and one of the things he picked up was a dry brush palette, which I'd never even heard of. And it sure made sense to me. So I'm going to try to get one or make one. But you just use the same board. You prime it a color. Did that even do anything? Sure did. It's going to make him look like he's a zombie. But then you dry brush on there, and it really gives you a good indication of exactly where the brush is. So when I'm doing it on a white towel, I can't really tell what is happening, what stage of paint is in there, unless I'm using a dark color. And since I'm doing Zenithal highlighting, I'm not doing a dark color. The silver is a little bit more clear. Anyway, I think this is, I did something similar already with, I don't think I dry brushed him though, or maybe I did. On Ultron, the original Ultron that I did, but it wasn't quite right. Wow, this is very rubbery. So I'm going to do this in stages, so it should build up. But I've never done this before. I've thought about it a lot. I think it'd be pretty great. You still want the shading. I want the shading, so I'm going to try to apply this in the right manner so it still leaves the dark spots. I've seen plenty of people do the contrast paints over metallics, and it looks fantastic. So this should work pretty well. It just will give us the shading that I'm hoping to get. The standard Zenithal shading. He's already looking pretty cool. He could be an Iron Patriot here. I don't have any spare of the other beyond this main box of Marvel United. I didn't. I thought about backing the minis on, because you could do the stretch goal boxes on the last Kickstarter, and I thought about it for a minute. I'm like, I really don't need more. There's no reason other than I would be getting them for a friend to have, and I thought about it, like, there's plenty of people I would like to get painting. I'd like Nikki to start painting more. She has done it with me before. He looks cool already. He looks very much like, Iron Patriot. Is that what it's called? Yeah, War Machine. I'm already out of that paint. It might be too dark, right? I might not get the red, I might not get the gold color that I want, so we'll have to see here. But yeah, they had the Marvel Zombicide there at the store, and I thought about it. It's $150 there, I think. And I was like, wow. It was not an inexpensive Kickstarter. And I believe that would be the Kickstarter version, so if there's anything different about it, that's one reason why it's $150, because it's probably not that expensive in the retail version that's coming. And that's basically what I'll get, is I'll get the retail version. I don't need all the stuff. I've never even played Zombicide, so I really don't know what it's like. Scott really wants us to play like one of the more recent ones, Black Plague, which I don't have. I have the one that I would be interested in was the one for gosh darn it, I can't remember the name, but it's basically like Space Marines. And that one seems interesting to me. But yeah, I can't really get too much more stuff to paint. I have far too many. And GW kind of frustrated me. I looked at their latest Warhammer Underworld's little warband prices, and gosh, they're $42. Now, it's probably a great price, right? But I was, Scott and I were buying them all at one point. We bought every single one of them as they were coming out. And then during the pandemic, I kind of lost the sense of time there, and they had released like 2 or 3 boxes, and I thought I'd got the last one. I'm like, I thought I bought the last one, but I think I bought it at the very beginning of the pandemic and then just kind of zoned it out. I mean, if you're buying one at a time, it's not so bad. But I generally end up buying them in 3 or something like that, and that's $150, and I just can't. That's just too much. Especially when I have so much to paint already. But I really like those little warbands. I think they're great. I think the whole idea is really cool. I was looking at the new boarding party or whatever they call them. That was $150, and they're saying that's a good price to get into it. But gosh, $150. Boarding something. It's not boarding party. I just, it's just crazy, and I don't feel that they're really terribly priced. It's just the concept of like being one where you want to have everything, and I'm not crazy about that. I mean, Scott was laughing at me because we saw Starcadia Quest, which he had given me when at one of the library parties recently. He's like, "Do you want the Starcadia box set?" And I'm, because he had the whole thing basically. And I said, "Invader, thanks, Jesse." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. Do I want more minis?" He's like, "They're chibies." I was like, "Okay." And I do want to paint them. They look great. But there was one expansion missing. And I can't remember what it was called. But it had like a mech in it. And I was obsessing, and I ended up just ordering it on eBay from a guy in Montana. And it was a fair price, I mean, I didn't pay for the whole other set, so I shouldn't worry about it, but it was just funny. Like, and he's laughing, and I said, "Hey, you can't laugh at me. You're even worse than I am about all that stuff." Wow, that looks pretty cool. I wonder, that might look great for Ultraman when I go, Ultraman. Might look great for Ultron. Let me put out a little bit of the other color here. Yeah, Invader looks pretty cool, though. Oh, I was going to do maybe the other color. No, well, maybe. Let's just do the brightest one. I only do it with 2 tones of basically gray with the regular Zenithal undercoating. So I do wish I had 2 of these, because I'd love to do this as Jessica Jones and as Karen Page. Deborah's funny about all this stuff. She's not a huge fan of the of some of the costumes. She likes the naturalistic look that they did with Daredevil in the original one. She actually just finished a run of Angels in America Part 1, I think, in Washington, D.C. We really, really would have loved to have gone, but we ended up being way more busy in the last few months than we thought. I hope it was fun. It sure looked like it was a good show. Okay. See, to me it looks like... Is this even going on? I guess so. So it means that I will probably need to thin the colors down to get them to the intensity. Not thinning, but using the contrast medium to reduce the intensity of it, maybe build up to the level I want, hopefully without going overboard on it. Anyway, you can see what I'm hoping to do here. I've been putting a little bit more on the lower levels, which I probably, well, because it's a gray, that was okay. So this one I need to be focusing on like the shoulders and the top of the head and the face. I usually cheat the face. I want the face to be a little bit more bold. Now this is looking a little smoother than the Black Widow, which is weird, right? I airbrushed it. Maybe the airbrushing was a little bit too much texture, which doesn't seem to be the case when I'm doing it, but maybe it is the case. I wonder if I have any other, let me see what I got left in the kit here. I have 0 human faces. I mean, they have, I guess, Hulk, but I don't have any real flesh tone ones. There's a little bit on Captain Marvel because her helmet cowl exposes her mouth, her jaw and her nose. Maybe I can see how that goes. Yeah, so this is like, it's sort of doing the highlights. Boy, it's not focusing. It's sort of doing the highlights. So I will probably cheat and put some white on. I need to dig out the ones out of the box. Do I have them here? I do. Let me get Iron Man out. I'm making a mess here. I got too many things open. I try to keep it under control, and I'm not doing a good job. So here's the original Iron Man I did. Oh, we also played, so we played Carnival Zombie, but we also played the cooperative version of Runebound, the 3rd edition, and man, that was awesome. It's sad because I guess it did not do well, so it's not really out there very much, and it's kind of expensive to just buy. I mean, 3rd edition, I don't even know. I know they keep doing stuff differently, but so yeah, I did like a bit of a bright spot here for the arc reactor and for the repulsors on his hands, so I will probably do a little bit of white. This looks pretty good. It does look a little different though. Interesting. I guess it's just the shading. Anyway, it was very fun. We had a really good time. It took us about 4.5 hours to play. But I would love to try to get that one. But the reality is Scott's going to get it, I'm sure. And we can just play it with him or Matthew when we have the opportunity. Because that's the thing. We can't. 5-hour games are tough. And they're really con type things we do. But Matthew's the best. We had him here for Carnival Zombie the first time we played it on the show. Well, the only time we played it on the show. And we'd already known he was fantastic at running the game because we played it with him 10 years ago or something like that, 11 years ago at the Gathering, I believe. And it's great, it's great to have. Wow, that looks pretty good. It's not necessarily bright enough, but I feel this is, and I feel like on the movies it kind of has a metallic look to the reds, so that's why I'm going for this. I didn't really want to try to just do the gold pieces. This is the first gold I did, and I was not happy with it. They have changed the colors of they've added yellows. Now that's going to be the challenge. I'm probably going to have to do a little test to see what I think is the best look for that. Because I don't want it to be, I don't want to do all this work and then have it not look so great. Again, it might be that I will build up the color slowly with, see, it does a pretty good job of cleaning it out too. You just got to get it damp, and then you basically do the same thing to, it's not showing here. You got to get it damp and then do the same thing to clean it off, and it does come off. I did not do a great job. Now this is a metallic, right? This is kind of crazy, but it does seem to come out. I had a bit of color in this one still after I cleaned it. It is bigger and I probably went longer with it, although I've been doing a lot of dry brushing here. So that looks cool. Let's see what we can do here. It is not a metallic golden, right? This was a this was just, you know, I was doing it over the white Zenithal highlighting, and then this was this color here, which is truly a great color. It was the beginning of me using it, and I wasn't satisfied with it. And then I ended up giving up on Thanos and just painting it gold, right? I was not happy with that one either. And I think this one might have worked better if I had tried, I mean, I tried to do some trickiness, but I didn't do dry brushing. And that would have helped. I mean, I like the way Thanos looks here. You know, it's comic book Thanos. But it's still not perfect, right? It's dry brushing metallics. I mean, doing metallics is tough. The best way to do them, and I'm not good at it, is to do non-metallic metals. But here's the reality. I think metallics look great too. I'm doing it right here, right? I'm not going to try to do this non-metallic metals because I'm trying to do this in the undercoating style, right? So let's see what this looks like. We'll just do the face. We'll see what it looks like here. It's all gold, so I generally do the eyes first on this kind of stuff. They really look different. I know it's just the undercoating. There's gonna be a lot of red too. I'm eager to see how that looks. I actually don't mind it. I think I would pick a different red here. Although I don't know. Again, we have this red, very bright red. I used it on Electra, and it's not really contrast paint like. I'm not done with Electra. I decided I wanted to try to do these Zenithal, the dry brush Zenithal highlighting first. So I left her mid-project here. But it's not really contrast paint enough for me. Like it is in the contrast line, but I feel like it's more just a wash, right? That's kind of what these are, but they have like a little mojo going on with some undercoating thing. So I think I did this with the Blood Angels Red. I probably built up the color, but I don't know. This is literally one of the first ones I painted doing this kind of style. As I said, I've used undercoating before, Zenithal undercoating, in a different method where you use it to inform your highlighting of your painting. So you paint on the color, then you pay attention to what you did, and then you highlight it so that it looks sort of like natural lighting. I've done okay with that, but when I saw Adam doing these for one of our 2020 virtual cons, he painted the Marvel United stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's what I want to do. Because I hadn't really, I did the contrast, my first contrast painted mini was this one. And I just painted it white. I did exactly what the GW recommends, and it turns out great, don't get me wrong. But I really kind of like the shaded version we do here. So, which red? So here's the two reds essentially. This is the Flesh Terrors here on her hair. It's not looking so great on camera. This one looks very orange comparatively here on camera. I mean, it is kind of orange. Did I finish her colors there too? I did. Zombie. See, Zombie, well, she did, well, multiverse, so she could be there. Zombie Natasha. I'm putting Flesh Terrors. Do I want to do that color? I don't think I do. Well, what I should do is do a mix of the two, but goodness gracious, I'll be asking for trouble. I'm going to do the gold anyway. That's what I said I was going to do. So let's put a little bit on the palette and then a little bit of the contrast medium on there. I've got to clean this off because it has silver on it. We are going to play, I guess it went live today, the new Endeavor Deep Sea. We're going to play that on our stream on Thursday. I'm not prepared for it. We only played like a little bit of it, but it was really interesting, and we asked the publisher, Kids Table Board Games is one of the publishers, if we could feature it on the stream. And you know, we'd like to do it on the show, but we have to wait till because it's Kickstarter right now. Or no, it's not Kickstarter, it's on GameFound. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited for them to see how that does. Because GameFound seems to give you a little bit more attention than you get on Kickstarter, because Kickstarter is just so So many projects launching. Today's Seismic, an interesting looking game that we did an in focus for. Nick Murphy did for us. Oh, and then Brothers Murph are coming to BGG Springs. So if you want to come, you should go. They're fun. We had a great time with them. They have not been to Spring yet. They went to 2021's BGG Con, I think. They couldn't go last year. Mike has a new baby. You know, she's about, gosh, she might be nearly a year old now. I don't know if that's correct. And you know, they're lots of work. They're all like, it's all hands on deck on that. So it's great. They've got one of the grandmothers there helping, and that's great. So they're going to have, and I guess they have enough time in the opening in their schedule and everybody's free that both Nick and Mike can come to gosh gracious, gold is, oh, I guess I'm putting it over metallic anyway, so, but yeah, the metallic is just everywhere. But they'll be able to come to the con, and that'll be fun. The SDJ stuff is just the best. Being able to play all the nominees, it's been going now for 7 or 8 years maybe, and it is just wonderful knowing exactly what's nominated. And usually, I mean, that's what the thing is the surprise. Now, Dwarf and Romantic normally would be a surprise because, you know, it's only just getting out in English. But I knew about it from Spiel, a little bit about it. Again, it was only in German. Okay, this might be too, well, you know what? I could just paint some over this and see what it looks like. I don't have any brush to paint today set up. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay, just the face. Do I want to do the face though? Actually, I'm going to do a little bit of stuff on his leg. So, you know, you really kind of want to test all this stuff. This may not be thin enough color-wise. It gets pretty yellow. It is a pretty, you know, initially I was really disappointed with this one, and then when I realized how the contrast medium worked, I was happier about it, and I was like able to use it to do much more painting than I expected. So there you go. I think I got a little bit on the leg, and you gotta be careful with that. It is definitely over the red. Although, you know what? In this case, it probably wouldn't be big of a deal. That big of a deal. I don't know where I mean, I obviously used the photo for influence, but I don't remember looking at this one. So it's pretty dark here in his arm. It's probably going to look very similar to the one I already have. Hope you're all working on some projects as well. My poor hands are super dry now. I was using alcohol, which is a mistake. You should probably rinse your hands after using that stuff. But yeah, I was working on a pinball machine this weekend, and goodness, it was just, I was getting beat up. Getting underneath, you know, it's tight. I really like working on that stuff. It's fun. I have a pinball machine, and I've done work on it. I'm not intimidated by that stuff at all. Scott is a little intimidated by it. I don't blame him. So what we did is we did a thing called a playfield protector on our machine here at home, and what it entails is you basically take a lot of the stuff off the top of your playfield, and then put this big sheet of plastic underneath it. And it's not necessary. I like doing it just because I really love this. The one we have is Munsters. And I love the table, the look of it and everything, and I just don't want it to get too pockmarked. And I don't want to, you know, it's me that I'm mostly worried about because I play it more than anybody. Nikki she's playing more with me. But you had to take it all off, and Nikki was like, are we going to get this back together? And I mean, I was confident about it, but goodness gracious, you never know. It is complicated. It does kind of look zombie skinish. But it looks cool. I mean, it definitely looks obviously more metallic. The color will change. I might not have thinned it enough, but should be okay. Well, there you go. Interesting. It really doesn't look the same. So, you know, obviously it's molded and it probably changes a little bit as it's not in focus there. Come on, focus. They don't quite look the same. And you know, it's plastic and it's soft plastic, so who knows? Well, I will let that dry. Am I missing any other gold that I have? Oh yeah, on the back here. I think that was the funny thing about this, is how much you have to just guess on the first ones, like what, you know, the first run of them. They only showed the fronts of the minis. From the second campaign on to the latest one, the X-Men and the Multiverse one here, they showed the backs, which was good, because I mean, I don't mind it, but it was definitely, I tend to like overthink it. Like, is that what it really is on? What do you think? You know, because I don't want to. Part of the reason why I have been using, first of all, it's an established IP, so it should be. I want to try to do things in the color schemes that they do on them, but I also don't want to think about it. You know, I tend to overthink it if you start to worry about whether the colors are going to be good together or things like that. Because I feel you should get painting, and as you get better, you're going to have better. I think you'll have better opinions of what those things should be, color-wise. So you can see here, I did a two-tone kind of a thing on the flames. I was actually pretty happy with that. So I may do the same thing here. Work with a lighter color, then a darker color. Now I don't know if I use two different colors of blue. It's certainly possible. I honestly feel I used, let's see here, I think I used, where is it? It's literally like one of my favorite colors. Is it down here already? Yes, it is, of course. Aethermatic blue on the inside, and then a darker blue. Maybe Talisar blue on the, I don't know though, that looks too. Maybe Celeste, no, that's not it. But I don't have to match it. I can do whatever I want. This Achillean green is a cool one too. Hey, Scott's there. Black Knight is very hard. Very hard. I think the Beatles is a hard pinball machine too. I think I've heard that one was actually based on a game called Sea Witch, which was supposedly really hard. They, you know, it has no ramps and stuff, so it's very fast. And we went to a place called Pocketeer in Niagara to play games, and man, it was great. Nikki and I go there every year. That's where we saw the Munsters, and we were smitten. And so Nikki's like, "You want this machine, don't you?" I'm like, "I do." The reason why I like it is I feel it's a good machine for beginners to more advanced players. It's got a lot of rules that make it challenging, you know, to like do well. But you can get into it and do things like multi-ball. Relatively, you can kind of like stumble into them. I don't know that we played the new one called The Godfather, which is a really nice machine, but it's almost too crazy with the multi-ball stuff. Like I had played it and I kept just went from one multi-ball to the next, and for me, it was a little hard because I couldn't really I couldn't focus on and learn the game, and which was frustrating. And because you're like, things are happening, you can't even tell. Like for me, I'm not that great of a player, so I can't really think about my shots when things are going fast, and in learning what is actually happening. But it's cool. I'm painting the red here, and I should be painting the blue. Well, of course, I'm going to do the red. I want to see what the red looks like. But yeah, it's fun. Okay, well, I guess I'll do it. I'm going for it. Gotta make a mess. Okay. Let's see what some of this red looks like. I think I need to paint it away from what I've painted yellow already, because I don't want it to blend. It's too pale. I will build it up. Although it looks pretty cool. It's definitely doing it as a glazing, I might only need like 2 coats though. And it's more red than it was here. I mean, this is a red, don't get me wrong, but it feels more like a crimson or something. No, not crimson. This looks cool. Well, it's all red, so let's go for it. Here, we'll see what we get. We were listening to a podcast this last week that started during the pandemic, but it's called Silverball Chronicles, and they do like the history of pinball. And I played a lot when I was young. Up until about the early to mid 90s, I played, not all the time, but I specifically went to go play at what they called the Castle Park, which is, at that time, I don't think it was owned by the city, but it is now owned by the city of Los Angeles. So it's an actual park for the city, which is cool. It was awesome, but I don't even think they have pinball there anymore. But we had a really fun time doing all that. I used to play with my dad when I was young, and but then I didn't have the internet as as a resource then, and then we got back into it, and Scott's even more into paying attention to that stuff than I am, so he's teaching me about who designed what, and there's obviously there's some great resources out there to learn that stuff. But this podcast is great because it focuses on a subject mostly, and then bring up other stuff, and then they're saying we'll get to those later. I think they've only got like 30 episodes or something like that, so it's not like it's that many, because I think they're doing them basically monthly, because it takes research. They're doing a pretty good job. I honestly, I was listening to one on the plane home last night, and they were talking about the errors, like people writing in, and one of them was like, one of the responses was from the person involved in the story, so that was kind of interesting to hear what actually happened. But it's interesting, like, some really, because it's all tangential to the and generally associated with the video game stuff, which I know much, much more about. We watched a documentary called Insert Coin or I did anyway. I don't know if Nikki watched it with me. Maybe she did. I can't remember. And you know, that's about Williams, I believe, which Williams was a big pinball manufacturer too. This is different. I don't think it's bad, but it is different. He's out of focus. It looks good. I mean, I definitely like. I've seen many people paint these these contrast paints over metallic, and they look cool. This looks cool. It's definitely more sketchy. I would like to try one. See, I don't know how easy it would be to do it with without dry brushing it on a metallic. I'm actually eager to try that out. I will have to. Maybe I'll do one of these in that manner because I didn't really do Ultraman the correct way. I think I ended up I think I used the metallic medium underneath because I was like, oh, I should do this. But I think I ended up just kind of painting it, the undercoating. Because, you know, there wasn't, he doesn't have any overcolors. So I have to see, I have to think about that one for a little bit. So it probably will need a little, oops, my hair. Probably need a little bit more coats to get to the level of coverage, color I think I want. But it looks cool. Awesome, Vinicius. X-Men United is great. I've had it for a few months now. I did see it at, gosh, I've had it for more than a few months, I think. I did see it at Common Ground. They had that plus a bunch of the expansions. It was pretty amazing. They actually had the plate mat that I did back on that one. I didn't back on the first one because I thought it was going to be too big for the table. It's just under the right size because we were talking about doing it again on you know, one of the expansions or something like that on GameNight, and we'll probably use the mat because it sure is neat. But that is one thing you probably won't be able to buy after the fact, other than like they thankfully had them at Common Ground if you wanted to buy one. Scott did not buy it because he already had the first one. Then he saw the new one. He was like, "Darn it, I want that one." And they actually had it at Common Ground when we were there a couple months back. So you can find them out there, but you know, it'd be interesting if I could do an airbrush highlight to do. I mean, it's such a tiny little space, but I probably shouldn't because I'd probably mess it up. But an airbrush highlight for the arc reactor and the repulsors in his hand. Definitely different. I think the miniatures are designed and sculpted by, I know they're done by Big Kid Big kid or big? I think it's Big Child Creatives. I believe they're Brazilian. I really like their stuff. They do a lot of minis for Simon, but I really like these a lot. They released some of the photos of some of the painted stuff from the last campaign. They did the last batch of them recently, and they looked cool. Keeps going out of focus. I think the background is not a great background. Did a lot of the head, but I didn't do it all here. Plus I still have his other arm. One machine we played a couple times that we really liked was the Aerosmith machine. Goodness gracious, I like that machine. It has a cool Toys in the Attic gimmick that launches the ball into this chest for you to build up the balls for multi-ball, and it's press your luck, so you can go further. It does carry over between balls, I believe, but if you kind of go too long and your game ends before going into the multi-ball, you lose out. But you have to get to a minimum of 3, but you can get to 6, and it's cool. Really neat one. I had never. I mean, we played it before. We played it at there's a local restaurant that has. I just put red on there. Oh well. Local restaurant that has. Let's see if I can clean it up. Pinball, and. They had it and we're like, wow, this is cool, and I had a really good time with it. And we played it in Dallas. We were there a little while back at a place that had a machine, and it was not in great shape. It was not bad, but not great. And but we played it at this place called Pocketeer in Buffalo, and it was, you know, they take care of their machines, and it was great. I would really like to try that one more. The one store close to us, the restaurant, has it. Or at least they did. They don't keep, you know, they have 2 different restaurants, and they have moved the machines around and stuff like that. I think he probably sells them off too, you know. That's like one of the interesting things about pinball is you can keep some of the value on those machines for the most part. Not everything does, you know, everybody loves or whatever, but when they do, they're worth, you don't lose too much money as long as you take good care of them. Now, like I said, I put that playfield protector on. It's not because I plan to sell the machine, because that's one good reason to do it. But I really have fun with it. It's an interesting hobby, expensive but interesting hobby. One of the things I learned though is this guy, one of the guys we like, his name is Steve Ritchie, a designer. He turns out his first machine for Williams, because he worked at Atari before that, which I didn't even know Atari made pinball machines. His first machine was one of the first ones I remember playing with my dad, called Flash. And I guess it was pretty groundbreaking for the time. But somebody had one on eBay a while back during the pandemic, and I thought about it, but we don't have that much room for stuff like that. I think he looks pretty good. Watch the video on, Suzanne Ciani, that I watched that too. Xenon, which is amazing. I mean, I love that machine. I really love that machine. I have not played it in a very long time, but I saw that video. I know who Suzanne Ciani is too, because Nikki and I both used to work at a record store, but I didn't know she worked on it, and it was a really cool little feature. I think it was like a news feature where they showed her working on the machine. And then I read an interview where she was given the machine, and she didn't have the space to keep it, and so she put it at a friend's, and she just basically, her friend got to keep it. And then she got another one, and then she got, you know, later, and doesn't have room for it once again. So it's like, oh, that's terrible. But yeah, hers was, I guess it was more complicated to do the female voice on those old chips. And it was a big deal to have the lady's voice, because they had done men's voices for a few years. But yeah, that was awesome. It's funny you saw the same one, Joe King. I don't know if I actually have any Suzanne Ciani albums. I was into that, you know, the kind of that new jazz, what do they call it, new age. Although I don't really know if she was new age. She was on those labels at the time. But I was also into the synthesizer stuff. You see, I just messed this up. I was into the synthesizer stuff then, and so, you know, Wendy Carlos was, my brother and I were like really intrigued by that, and her stuff, and Kraftwerk, and all those things. But I'm definitely more pop oriented, that's for sure. Rock and roll pop stuff. Well, the red looks neat. I can't mess it up here. I gotta let it dry. Interesting. The face is more... So this is a different look. It looks good though. It's interesting. Goodness. That's different. It looks cool. I still am not sold on the gold, but that could be a color choice. It's also, I feel, probably a little too dark, the undercoating for gold. Gold needs to be brighter, but the red looks pretty great. I mean, it's not fully dry, so. This piece of the chest looks pretty dried, and that looks good. So this is not a complete success or failure. I definitely like the look of it. Wow, why is this? I have a thing called a rinse well from Masterson, is that what it is? And it's not drained, so it has an inverted bottle on the top to give you fresh water to clean your brush. You can just, you push a little button and it drains into the reservoir, a reservoir below to get that. Wow, you know what? I have not been paying attention. I have been disconnected from the audio. That's because I got up at the last minute to do something. Bummer. There we go. So if anybody came on, I'm terribly sorry I didn't catch you coming on. And the red does look more metallic for sure. I mean, you know, this is just over the white, right? You know, which isn't bad. It looks very good. But I think that looks more like Iron Man did on the left there. His face again is a little too dark, but it's fine. And then I'll put the bright lights in there to do his eyes, and once it all dries for sure. And I probably do a little bit more yellow for the gold. But you have the shading. I mean, he looks pretty great. I wonder if I could do like an airbrushed. I mean, I would do it before I do all that stuff. So what I would probably do if I were to do this again would be paint the energy splash, you know, the thruster splash stuff with the airbrush maybe, and then dry brush the undercoating of the metallic. That looks good though. It is weird though. The colors, you know, kind of flatten out when they dry. Now, a varnish would be cool on this. So I don't always use a shiny varnish, but I will probably use, I mean, I almost never use a shiny varnish, but I might use a shiny or satin varnish on this one just to, so I saw you know, I'm really into, I haven't played it a lot, but I'm into Gaslands, and one of the folks that was attending the convention had brought his stuff, and oh my gosh, he was like, I'm not a good painter, and it looks great. And he varnishes everything with gloss, and it looks good. And I will tell you, gloss varnishes are more durable. Hey, Chad Stilson, I'm doing good. Having fun painting these today, trying a new bit of technique here. Anyway, yeah, he, I guess they played on Friday, and we were leaving on Friday, so, but I would love to have played. And I played with my friend Sebastian, and he is very good. He's a good player. He had some really fun ideas, and I saw it coming, but there was nothing I could do, and it was great. But I'd love to play in a bigger group with a bigger group of folks. And he brought all the stuff. He had tons of painted vehicles and terrain. Really cool. Really cool. That gold. Boo. I mean, it looks pretty good when you look at it here. I think on camera. Come on, focus. It looks pretty good. But boy, the red looks great. Still little drops that you can't, I mean, this is where you get the coffee staining is what they call it. Just gotta let it dry and see if it'll smooth out. That is rad. Really, really looks cool. Now I'm gonna have to paint the eyes. It really looks different. I guess it's just the paint job I did on these. It's not in camera. Come on, focus. Neat. Okay, well, let's try some blue. I'll start with a lighter color. I guess I will use this same color. Star Wars Rebellion, maybe? I mean, I really, Shatterpoint looks great. I do have Rebellion, and I don't think I have Outer Rim. I would like to paint all that stuff. I'd actually like to paint Legion, Star Wars Legion. Adam, Tabletop Minions did, he did a bunch with like stormtroopers and stuff with the dry brush. You know, he had a technique for that looked great. That was actually one reason why I hadn't painted those yet. I did not, it's white, you know, the stormtroopers are white, and I'm nervous about like what that means as far as making it look good, because I just feel I'm not really great at the white still. If I were to airbrush it correctly, maybe I just go with that. I mean, I have a ton of stuff to paint. I want to finish it's only 12 or 13 years in the making, actually probably more than that. My Space Hulk set, I had painted the Marines, and then Scott wanted to get a set for the BGG library, and so I finished those off, and then we painted the Gene Stealers, and together, which was really fun. And then he gave me the set to take home and paint finished again, and I only got like 3 of the minis sort of done. So I need to finish all that, just of the Marines themselves. I had my setup not as in a good situation previously, and it's much better now. So hopefully, crud. Just dropped a big old glob of this stuff. So yeah, it's having this set up now. I do paint more often. I intend to paint this weekend if I can. We're not going to film, I don't think. But we do need to try to film before we leave. Again, we're going to be going to BGG Spring in about 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks. And we're looking forward to it, but it's just more travel. We've got a lot of travel ahead of us this year still. But it's cool. I mean, really excited about doing BGG Spring. It's a fun convention, and it's going to be great to see Christoph. There's a bit of white there. I mean, red. I need to fix that before I paint. Oh, well, I can paint the rest of it around it. but I got a little bit white on red on the leg, the thrust there. You can see it there. I don't want to leave that. Gosh, I remember painting this now. For whatever reason, it's like major, I mean, obviously I painted it before, but major deja vu, recollection of doing it. It's not very strong color here. I mean, I thinned it out, so. Oh, you can't see that, I'm sorry. Armada tiny ships for space Star Wars Outer Rim game. Neato. They work perfect. Armada tiny ships. So that's is that from Star Wars Armada? I actually kind of want to get back to painting just some GW stuff because I like working on their minis. They the plastic, for what, you know, some people don't like their plastic. I like it because it's just rigid enough to do to clean them up, to clean up. I mean, I did some work on this before I painted it, but you can still see I missed some spots, and for whatever reason I can't see it as clearly as I can on the GW ones. Part of it is I actually cleaned the mold lines prior to even assembling many times on GW stuff. These come assembled, and I think that it always works against me. I mean, look, it has a whole bunch of stuff flashing on the edge of this splash, thruster splash stuff here, so it's out of focus again. I think I used this one before, and I think I was dissatisfied with it, as I am now. It is not the right color. I mean, it probably needs more white underneath it to really be a stronger color. Aethermatic blue. I have not been saying those colors all the time. Somebody asked me about the Kang, the pink that I used, and I think that was Doomfire Magenta, so I have to respond to them in the comments on YouTube about it. It's funny, I was watching somebody's videos and they were talking about, what was Lila? She was talking about how pink is a color for her that is a, you know, like to check a paint line is what she checks is a purple, a pink. And it is exactly the same with me. It's so funny, like that is the biggest challenge. And I think part of the problem is for me is I loved Warp Lock purple, which is just a pink. This is me that I decanted it into a bottle, and you can see it's an old one. It's still got paint in it. And I love that color. It is a great pink. And I wish they would bring that one back. I don't know what GW's version of that is now, but I think it is different. Okay, we'll let that dry. I need to touch that white up and then put the black over it. Excuse me, not the black, the blue. Maybe just use a little bit of this. I love the Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl paints, but it's a little bit thick. Is Nikki back home already? Seems like she's home too soon, but 11:30 could have been quick. I don't know. Maybe she got there early. Maybe she messed up the day. I don't know. That is Nikki. I wonder what's going on. So I do like a little bit of like to conceal when I do this stuff a little bit, because I feel when you do this, it will conceal you only need a little bit of gray. It doesn't even have to really match exactly anyway to cover it up when you do the contrast paints, at least the way I've been doing things. So like if I paint color over an area that I don't want it to be colored, that I can just put a little bit of gray over it, and it generally does a pretty good job of covering that up. I think I put a little bit of red here. So I just put a little bit of gray and then paint that up with a bit of the gold here in a minute. You do need to let this dry. The whites are a little chalky, and if you paint too soon, it just smears all over the place. Guess Nikki's been gone for nearly an hour and a half. Is that right? Hey Opal, how you doing? Yeah, I think I recall that this blue was not great. It's too subtle for what I'm doing, but I'm gonna maybe leave it this way and try doing maybe a third stage of color. Having some coffee. I'm not a coffee person. I tried to be a coffee person and I realized I didn't care, and it didn't really do anything for me. It didn't wake me up. And I'm usually, I'm one of those people that gets up and they're ready to go, so you don't really need the coffee to get moving. Nikki is not a coffee drinker, but she is absolutely a Diet Dr. Pepper, roll out of bed, and not quite that quickly, but have one. Although she did. She came in here and had one. She had a strawberry Diet Dr. Pepper. Okay. I was looking at something. I guess I'll do the yellow. Let's just go ahead and do it. It's not really a big deal because it's a very small area of stuff here. Wow, it looks a little better with it brighter here, so another coat is helping. Again, it dries down and it gets kind of flat, but like a gloss finish might help bump that up. I might come back and actually paint that bit with some straight silver and then put the gold over it again. That was particularly what I was looking at. Looks like a little bit of red on there. That's too bad. Weird, I don't know what I did on that. I'll touch it up. So it dried up pretty good. There's not too much craziness here on that shoulder that was the little dot. This isn't too bad either. I think this is where I messed up too, where I messed it up. Yeah, he looks cool. Water and an unsalted. I do like crackers. There's not unsalted crackers at all. Let's see here. We are almost done stream time-wise. I got 15 more minutes. I don't know. Well, I'm going to go a little longer probably, but I don't know if we have. I don't think we do. Rahdo's on the road, so I'm not sure what they're doing on their streams. They had planned to do some, and we were scheduling them in, and then they lost their sponsor, and I know that he was traveling with his wife, Jen, so they were not going to be doing as much streaming, but I know Ruel was going to be doing it, and I don't think any of those had happened, or something happened. So we may be automatically switching over to something else. I can't remember. I scheduled this a long time ago. But if you want to stick around, if you're watching us on Twitch or YouTube, it won't go anywhere, but if you're watching us on the BGG front page, or either one of the BGG front page or the BGG live page, it will you'll switch over. BG Live is where we put, that's what I'm talking about, my scheduling. It's where we put in what's playing, and we, the downer is I like having the Brothers Murph stuff on there. They are at the same time as we are almost. They start a half an hour later than we do on either the Thursday evening is when we generally stream in the evening, and it's a different time. You know, they're doing it half an hour later, and it's a bummer because they're fun. But you can catch them on Tuesday evenings. But you can also just go to boardgamegeek.com/live and see the schedule for the month. I try to put it all in. Derek has a couple of, he has like 4, maybe 5 events planned each month. And then Steph and Michael have their streams. They do theirs Wednesdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Central is when they're actually in the time zone they're in, I believe. But yeah, it's like we've been trying to put in folks to see, you know, just to help build the awareness. And we had Rahdo in there. I reached out to him about putting it on because, you know, it's Twitch doesn't do a ton of it for us for board games, which, you know, it's fine. I understand all that. But we're trying to get awareness because, you know, it's a lot of effort. I love doing all this stuff, but it is work, and you want folks to catch you. I have not done any new Gasland pieces. I think you just missed out on my discussion about seeing it at the gathering. One of the attendees had just the most amazing set of stuff. He did not think he was a good painter, and he's, you know, Gaslands is forgiving, but additionally, I still think he was a great painter. He was very excited to show all that to me. I think we were playing. I know we were playing Runebound, and so I was trying to focus on our game, but I was really blown away by the minis and his terrain. Really looked good. Nice stuff. I showed him pictures of the stuff that Sebastian had done. Sebastian has a great collection of stuff he's painted, and he's just a great painter, fast. Makes me quite jealous of his skills. I wish I had the accuracy and the confidence that he has to paint. So now I need to pick another blue. This is a Croxagore Scales. Let's try that one. That's a new color. Newer color, I think. If I look at the date, it will probably give me an indication if it is the newer one. 2021. I'm pretty sure this is the new one. The new colors are cool. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in here. Number 1, more yellows. Number 2, some straight reds. Tons of blues and greens still, like a new black. I'm really looking forward to what they waited a long time. I think it was, they put them out in 2022, so that was 3 years after the first batch. But the interesting thing is I feel they got the formulation right directly out of the box. Whereas some of these other ones, this is a green-blue. That'll be cool. It'll really look watery. But they got them kind of right out of the out of the gate. I said out of the box, right out of the gate. I feel they're, you know, they're forgiving. Not all of the colors are perfect, but they don't have any of the kind of the weird problems that some of the other ones have had. Most of them have been perfectly fine. I think even the ones that everybody talks about are the speed paints reactivating. I still have not used them, so I don't know. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Wow, I really feel like this color is a darker version of the one I just put on, which is probably the right thing to be doing. Wow, that looks neat though. Yeah, I'm surprised at how many blues and greens they have. I don't quite understand all of that. Especially when, you know, but maybe like the others just don't need it. Although I tell you, the red and the yellow really needed it. Even though like the two darker reds were great, I just wanted a straight red. And they finally came up with one, which is fantastic. Ooh, that's blue. That is blue. But we're going with it. It's electric. Blue-green. Turquoise. I said I was going to do 3 tones. I don't think I'm doing 3 tones. We don't have Jeff on the schedule. Jeff has been doing not Gloomhaven, Frosthaven. Solo play. He does it when he wants to do it. I guess that's probably why we don't have him on the schedule. It's like when he has time. So, but you should check it out. They're up on YouTube after the fact, and it's worth seeing what he's doing. I wonder if I'm getting this inverted, the color. I did this before on the flames. I don't worry about it. Doesn't have to be based in reality here. But yeah, Jeff's been doing that. He's like on number 2, I think was the last one he did, or maybe 3. He was at the gathering too, so he only returned home yesterday. So, as we did. So he hasn't streamed for a little while. Scott and I are talking about trying to do a streaming rig for Pinball. Part of that is, for me, the reason why I would like to do that is when we did the playfield protector, there are no videos really out there. There's a little bit of stuff. I mean, you know, it's a very niche thing, but having a little bit of knowledge of how to do it would make it feel, you know, much more comfortable even just doing it. I was intimidated when I did ours, and I was less intimidated when I did some of the other ones. I've done a couple machines now. But I still would like to look things up. It's crazy how much stuff, you know, there's just not that many people out there doing this stuff, so it really isn't that surprising, but still, it'd be nice. And we're learning something, so to share our information on that would be good. Sorry, that's out of focus. Yeah, it's good that Jeff's doing it. We actually are talking about doing it on the show too. We won't do much of it, obviously. We'll probably just do the beginning. We tried to do Jaws of the Lion during the pandemic. We filmed it outside. We had Aaron and Deborah over. It was great because it was in 2020, I believe, when we did it. But it just was not, it was impossible to shoot outside, like for us. Without probably like a real crew running it. We couldn't do it. The camera wouldn't stay straight up above, and the weather was terrible. You know, it was hot. Not terrible. It was wonderful out, but like Deborah was and Aaron were both getting eaten alive. Usually it's me that gets eaten alive by the little fleas or whatever. Not mosquitoes, I don't think, but it was Deborah and Aaron. I felt really bad for Deborah because she was really having certainly my type of reaction to that stuff. Okay, so I think I'm going to do this light color here on, so it's kind of a splash color of the blue, even though it's not too intense, because I want to leave it kind of white. So I liked it. I did do the airbrush of the stuff on. What were the two that I did? I did Dormammu, where it is glowing beneath, and I like it. It looks cool. But you know, I was amazed it didn't mess anything up, because I didn't. You should like cover your miniature up where you don't want paint, but it was glowing, right? It's like a glowing from the flames, right, or whatever, cosmic flames, and I wasn't too worried about it. The paint is blurred into the other one, so there you go. Does look similar though, but this is very tiny, so I didn't think it'd be too easy to airbrush it. He looks pretty great. I really want to paint some clear coat on it to see how that works. I'm going to paint this little bit, just some silver. I don't think I have any wet silver here anymore, so I think I'll use the darker one just to get that red out of there, because it bothers me. It is bothering me. That is a gray. Where is the silver? Oh, here it is. It'll get more on my hands. Wow, it really is drying. I really don't like their bottles. Okay. It was pretty much dried up here on here. Since I was dry brushing with that color. Nope, too strong. Too strong. Making a mess. Not strong enough. Metallics are hard. They're hard. Well, when you're trying to do something strange with them, I guess, they're hard. Just want to knock down that red and put the gold back over it. Okay, I could probably fix that with red and yellow. Our friend Brian he bought that airbrush kit that I was talking about, the one with the little compressor and the airbrush kit that came with it. He needs some help with airbrushing, so I'm gonna probably go down and help him. He lives actually near to the airport, so I always think about them when we pass, going to the airport or leaving the airport. Tashi and Brian usually, we'll see if they'll do it this year at the children's games with us. Tashi's getting older. It does a pretty good job of covering it up when you do it this way. I did get that a little bit of red on that, what should be gold. I saw our sponsor of GameNight has a bunch of new dice and dice trays coming out from, I don't know when they're due, but they look really great. They were going to send us some samples home with Eric. I go, well, Eric lives on the other side of the country. He could send them to us, but we won't get them that quickly. Yeah, I want to help Brian out because he's never actually, I thought he airbrushed, but he had never done it before. So hopefully he wants to get back on there, Marvel United. He and Tashi were painting them together, which is awesome. And it'd be neat if they could do them this way because it's really cool. And I really like that little compressor. It's not really strong, so like if you have an airbrush, one of my airbrushes just didn't work with it. Maybe this one. It might have been this one. This one probably needs to be higher PSI than what it what that can put out. It's about 20, and you know some of my airbrushes work perfectly with it. So, and the airbrush that comes with it works really well. Actually, I think the airbrush that comes with is very strong. Like it really is. The paint comes out too much, so maybe they've probably got the right mix of what that airbrush needs. Put that back. Maybe I'll do a little bit darker stuff that's out in the peaks of it here. It probably is not correct. It probably should be darker in the center, lighter on the outside, but it looks more exciting this way. Again, does not need to be real world. Hey, there's more red that I somehow got in there. I didn't notice. Oh well, it's not too visible. Okay, well there you go, that's getting there. Still a bit more to do. What time is it? It is 12:30, I got a little bit more time. I'm starving though, so definitely hungry for lunch. So let me think how to do this. I do have some white, or do I? Do I? It's probably a little too dry. Also, made a mess over here with that napkin. Brush is getting tired. Probably time to switch. Let's see here. Do I have one out already? I do not. But I do need to switch it out. It would be perfectly fine for other stuff. I thought I had one out. Oh well. Yeah, you can see it's got a little bit of hair, and I can't really focus on it, but it's got a little bit of a hair poking out there that's not good. And you know, I've been specifically poking it into the painting the red today, so that's the big challenge here. Really can beat them up. Let's see here. I need another napkin or towel, and I need more white. I think I need to get more of the Pro Aquarel. Pro Aquarel is definitely a better white. The undercoating, so I use I need to try the Pro Aquarel primers. They actually carry them at Common Ground, and I should have. I just don't want to ship them. I mean, you know, I don't want to put them in our luggage. I'm not even sure. It may not be something you can carry home. But I need to order some, and I want to try them. I was thinking about getting that stuff, and then I saw how much primer I actually have left, and I'm like, oh, I guess I don't need it, just wait. But I really do like the Badger stuff, but it's not a great, just using it as a paint, for me anyway. Should be using the undercoating. The metallic medium is the highlight here. To do the blue on top of. Well, I don't. That is definitely dry. So where is it? Right here. Nope, that's the steel. Here it is. Use a finer brush. I don't really have, I need to get some acrylic number 1s and 2s and 0s, and even some double 0s. What is buzzing? Oh, it's my phone. Okay. Looks pretty good. Definitely need some more white though. What did I do on his hand here? It's the one thing I can't do. I wonder if I should, I think I have the transparent white. I should see what that's like and see if it's a glazing. I can't imagine, but it may have some sort of a binder or something that makes it apply. I need to experiment with it. I don't want to just stick it on a mini, but I would say this is pretty successful. It works pretty good. I'm still not 100. I mean, it looks pretty good on camera. I'm not sure about it here as far as the gold. I think the red looks great. I think it'll look really nice with a varnish on it. So I will probably put, I don't think I have a gloss. I wonder if they make one. I honestly do not need a, how many ounces are these? 8 ounces maybe? Well, it's probably not even ounces. It's milliliters. I mean, it's a lot, and I like their varnishes. The satin is pretty good, but it's not shiny enough, I think, ultimately. I don't know. I should do it first and see what I think. But I don't need this much in a gloss. I do have polyscale, which is old stuff, but flat, satin, clear gloss. Yeah, I don't know if these guys even, it's testers, so they existed, and this is from 23 years ago. I mean, I don't think the bottle's nearly that old, but the problem is getting them open. Goodness gracious. I'll have to monkey with that later. I mean, it's definitely fluid in there and everything, but you can see how little I use. I don't use a lot of gloss. I mostly use it for like gems and lenses and... Well, there you go. So that looks pretty good. Cool to have how-to on airbrushing, yeah. Thanks, Opal. Grammar is hard. It does look good. I mean, it looks like Iron Man, you know? And it's a different style. I mean, I really like this one too, but it is different. I think I will do some more shading with this blast thruster splash. Use some of the dark like I did here. I liked how that turned out. Anyway, let me switch to the other camera. Hey, I don't have the right thing there, so that won't be helpful. Hey, there we go. Hooray! I think I'll be done for today. I will be back painting next Thursday, a week from Thursday. Well, this Thursday we will be streaming. The plan is to stream Endeavor Deep Sea, which is very cool, and but I'll be painting it, and then we'll stream something on Tuesday. Hey, there we go. Thanks, Gator Dave. Wow, 37 months. Thanks so much, Gator Dave, for the support. If anybody else supported us, subscribed or anything, I'm sorry I missed it. I was not plugged in. Should have known. I always have the music playing so I could hear it, but I just didn't. I went to do some stuff in the control room before I started, and I forgot to put the headphones back in. But thanks so much, Gator Dave. Thank you. 37 months is great. He's been supporting us probably since before we actually started streaming. Like when we were streaming with Deborah when we did the Wilson Wolf Affair, which is awesome. Those are all on our YouTube channel. You can see we don't necessarily have all of our we didn't put all of our live stuff on there, but we are doing everything there now. Theoretically, I mean, this is working. Today I did it correctly. We'll see what I do next Thursday. We are doing the stuff directly on YouTube now, so everything will be there, which is great. You know, we want to have a little bit more engagement with the folks on YouTube because, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily go on Twitch, which is fine. I understand it completely. But you can always write us on the comments, and if you have any questions, I will consider trying to do some. I mean, I've done some airbrush stuff. My problem with airbrush stuff is you need to, it's best to show you, and I don't know the best way to film that live. I could make a video. Now, I'm not the end-all be-all with airbrush, but I do know a good amount, and there's a lot of great stuff out there. I did airbrush the Dormammu and the Hela in here, on the, which I don't recommend. You know, I didn't have a mask. It was very, very light airbrushing, but I really feel you should wear a mask. And as I was saying, I painted a varnish as soon as we got home with varnish. So it was some of those AK Interactive varnishes, and I'm like, I'll do this for 30 seconds. And I could feel it in my lungs in 30 seconds. It literally was that quick. And so you should absolutely wear a respirator or do it outside. I do most of my airbrushing outside. So plus just filming it, I'm not sure how to do that. If I can do something here, I mean, I do have behind me here I think I was just showing you Dormammu. Let's switch back. I was showing that I airbrush this stuff on camera, you know, I mean, not on camera, at the desk here, and it was good, but it's scary, right? You know, I mean, I don't want to make a mess. I don't want to get stuff on the cameras, and I did have the lens cover on that day, but still. But if I had the spray booth, it might be easier to do. Anyway, everybody have a great week. We'll be back on Thursday, as I say, doing Endeavor Deep Sea. We have to learn how to play that correctly and completely. We'll see how that goes. And check out our episode on Thursday. I think it might be Clone Wars, Star Wars Clone Wars, the Pandemic System one co-op. It was really awesome. But I'm not sure. I'll have to double check. And hope everybody has a great week. Take care, everybody. I'll see. Oh, let's see if we can raid somebody. Hold on, before I get carried away. Raid. I'm terrible at this. Chess bro. Hey, Rado runs through. We're gonna raid Rado. They're probably already. Looks like maybe he's back home already. So everybody say hello to him for me. And fantastic. I need to start adding him back to our live page. Here we go. Let's see this. See if I can pull it off without messing it up. 2 viewers. Go ahead and join in if you think you want to do it. Folks on YouTube, I mean, go ahead and it's Twitch, but you should go check it out. Bye, everybody. Have a great one. Right, it's Rado and Ruel. Fantastic.